Hey guys, how's it going? So video try number 2. We'll see if this one orients the correct way or not. So we're moving on to section 11.2, which is linear equations in two variables. So here we go. All right, so a linear equation. The most general form of a linear equation is this equation called ax plus by equals c. This is actually called standard form. An example would be x plus y equals 5. All right, so we're adding two variables now. So instead of just having an x variable, we're having an x and a y. And remember what this x and y represent. They represent something called an ordered pair. Another way to think of an ordered pair is something that makes the equation true. So an ordered pair makes the equation true. So that's the first thing they're going to want you to check. Determine whether the ordered pair is a solution. So all we do is plug it in. So remember, this is x and this is y, so we get 6 equals 1/4 times 4 plus 5. And now we do some pretty easy order of operations. 1/4 times 4 is 1. 6 equals 6, so the answer would be yes, this is a solution. For the second equation, we have an easy equation, x equals 5. Well, my x value is 2. So 2 does not equal 5, so we would say not a solution. So again, this is the first thing they're going to want you to do, is check to see if it's a solution or not. All right, so the next thing we're going to want to be able to do is actually plot points. We're going to want to be able to draw graphs, so graphing linear equations, and we're going to do this by plotting points. So the first thing we're going to do is find solutions. So we're going to find ordered pairs that work. We're going to graph those ordered pairs, and then we're going to connect the dots. So we're going to find two solutions, and then we're going to connect them with a line. So again, we're going to find answers that work, we're going to plot them, and then we're going to connect those dots to graph a line. So we got a bunch of examples. Example number 1. 6x minus 3y equals 12. Well, here they're giving something called a table of values, and they want us to fill in this table. So I'm going to start by plugging 0 in for x. So I'm going to plug 0 in for x. Well, 6 times 0 is 0, so my equation becomes negative 3y equals 12. And when I divide by negative 3, I get the point negative 4. So my first point I'm going to graph is 0, negative 4. That's my first point on my axes. Let's plug negative 4 in. So if I plug negative 4 in right here, I get negative 24 minus 3y equals 12. And again, this is a pretty easy two-step equation. Negative 3y equals 36, or y equals negative 12. So my next point is negative 4, negative 12, way down here. The problem is that point's going to go off my axes pretty far. So I think I'm going to skip that point for right now. My last point I need to put in is 3. So that would be 18 minus 3y equals 12. Negative 3y equals negative 6, or y equals 2. So I'm actually going to use that as my second point, 3, 2. And if I want to graph these two lines, all I need to do is take a straight edge. I'm trying to find a straight edge real quick. Down here, I do. And I connect these. So that line is represented this equation. This equation is this line is this equation. This is the equation, this is the picture of the line. Let's try another one. So my next equation is really easy. It says y is equal to negative 3. That means no matter what x is, there's no x to plug in. So all of my y values are negative 3. My printer's printing, so just give me a second. So my first point is 0, negative 3, 1, negative 3, negative 2, negative 3. And this one's super easy. You can see when I graph these, I actually get a special type of line. I get something called a horizontal line. It turns out whenever you have y equals a number, you get something called a horizontal line. Okay. We can do the same thing with decimals. Notice they didn't give me a table of values on this one, so I'm going to make a table. So I'm going to pick some x values. Let's see. I'm going to pick 0. I'm going to pick 1. And I'm going to pick -1. You can pick whatever x values you want. It's really up to you. Okay, so if I plug 0 in, again, anything times 0 is 0. So I get the point 1.2. Remember, we're going to have to guesstimate on this one. So 0, 1.2. If I plug 1 in, I get 2, 1 comma 2. And if I plug -1, I get 0.4. -1, 0.4. And again, I can connect these dots. All right, so why don't you try this one? I'll have the answers when I post my version of this worksheet. So you try to do this one by making points. All right, you try to do that one, and why don't you also try number 7? So again, I'll post my answers when I post this video. I'll put my answer key on there so you can check. All right, so the next thing we need to be able to do is find something called x and y intercepts. All right. So the x-intercept is the point where it hits the x-axis, and the y-intercept is a point where it hits the y-axis. Now it's really cool. To find x-intercepts, we actually set y equal to 0, and then solve for x. To find y-intercepts, we actually set x equal to 0, and solve for y. So you set the opposite thing equal to 0 to find the intercepts. So in this first example, all they want us to do is say what the intercepts are. Well, this is easy. The y-intercept is going to be the point 0, 2, because that's where it hits the y-axis. And the x-intercept is going to be -3, 0. Notice on the y-intercept, the x value is 0, and on the x-intercept, the y value is 0. The next thing they want us to be able to do is they want us to be able to take the equation and find the intercepts. So let's find the x-intercept first. Remember, to find the x-intercept, you basically set y equal to 0. So I'm going to cover up the y value with my pen. So if I cover that up, I get 4x equals 4. So I get 4x equals 4. So that tells me that x equals 1. So my x-intercept is the point 1, 0. To find my y-intercept, I'm going to cover up the x value. I get -y equals 4, which implies y equals -4. So my y-intercept is the point 0, -4. And what do you know? I can actually graph points by finding the intercepts. So unlike what we were doing on the previous problem, we were finding random points, I can actually use very specific points called the intercept. So why don't you try 10 and 11? So you're going to find the x and the y intercepts and then graph. Again, pause the video, try them. I'll put the answer key up later, and you can check to make sure you got them right. Okay, so our last little piece, okay, cool, are something called horizontal and vertical lines. These are special lines, right? Horizontal and vertical lines. So a vertical line will always be x equals some number. X equals some number. And what they mean by vertical line, right? If I draw my x and y axes, they mean a line going straight up and down vertical, right? That's what a vertical line looks like. Here are some examples of some vertical lines. Notice this one you have to divide by -2 first. So those would all be examples of vertical lines. X equals a number is a vertical line. The next type of special line we need is something called horizontal lines. Horizontal lines, and we talked about this before, is going to be where you get y equals a number. So again, y equals 0, y equals 2.6. Once again, you have to solve this one, but you get y equals 7. These would all be examples of horizontal lines. And again, a horizontal line means it goes sideways. Right? So that's an example of a horizontal line. So the first thing they want us to do is say if they are or aren't true or false. So if the statement is false, they also want us to rewrite it. The line x equals 5 is a vertical line. That is true. X equals a number is a vertical line. A line parallel to the x-axis is a horizontal This is true. All right? So if I want a line parallel to the x-axis, remember parallel means goes in the same direction, it would be a horizontal line. A line perpendicular to the y-axis, this should be over here, is vertical. A line perpendicular to the y-axis is vertical. That's false. A line parallel. Every line has both an x and a y, and again, this should be intercept. It printed in the wrong spot. Every line has an x and a y intercept. This is false. This should be every line has both an x or a y, right? Remember, horizontal and vertical lines don't have intercepts. Don't have both intercepts. All right, so let's see. The next section, identify as horizontal or vertical, graph it, and then give the intercept, okay? So step one, we need to add 4 to this problem. So we get the equation x equals 2. This is going to be a vertical line. It's going to occur wherever x is 2. So wherever x is 2, we draw a vertical line. And the intercept, the x-intercept, is the point 2, 0. It doesn't have a y-intercept. Problem 17, first divide by 3. We get y equals -4, which is a horizontal line. All right, -4, go down to -4 and draw the horizontal line. And this time we get a y-intercept, which is the point 0, -4. No x-intercept because it's a horizontal line. So why don't you try this one? Again, I'll post my answer key later on. And why don't you try 19? It's a word problem, shouldn't be too bad. So it should be pretty good. So this is my second video. I hope it works out better than my first video being sideways. We'll see. I'll finish the answer key for this, so I'll post the video probably today, which is Thursday or Wednesday before spring break. And then I'll also post my answer key too, so you can check your answers. Alrighty, see you later. Bye.